Welcome back, focused learners. Let's get right into it. Today's explainer is a deep dive into the psychological mechanics of, well, authentic manifestation. We are leaving all that toxic positivity at the door. Instead, we're going to look at the genuine science of real results using some pretty surprising tools, including a powerful meditation on money and the journey of a little guy we'll call Sammy the Sprout. Okay, let's dive right into this. It's literally the burning question that frustrates so many of us, right? Why isn't your manifestation working? You know the drill. You're doing the affirmations, actually, scratch that, you're exhausting yourself trying to stay positive. But you just feel completely, utterly stuck in this never-ending phase of wanting. You want it so badly, but man, the more you try to force it, the farther away it seems to get. And there's a really good reason for that. Listen to this quote. "There is no fixing the old reality. The more we focus on it, the more we're creating the very thing or pointing at and saying we don't like." I mean, that hits the nail on the head. Obsessing over changing your current physical circumstances, the 3D world, is exactly what keeps you trapped. You're actually, accidentally, feeding energy right back into the exact problem you're trying to solve. But don't worry, we are going to fix that today. Here's our game plan. First, we'll unpack the manifestation trap. Then we'll look at practicing loving honesty. Next up is the power of indifference, followed by a technique called the I've arrived state. And finally, we'll wrap up with the I remember when method. It's a super clear, actionable roadmap to get you unstuck. All right, section 1, the manifestation trap, breaking free from superstitious fear. To really picture this, let's talk about Sammy the Sprout. Toxic manifestation is kind of like a flower trapped in a glass jar. It's repressing its true nature, it's absolutely terrified of doing things wrong, and it's forcing this fake positivity. But healthy manifestation, that's Sammy. He just leans into his desire to grow, he completely accepts that he's currently sitting in the dirt, and he unfolds with this incredible sense of natural obviousness. It's about your mental health just as much as your outcomes. Our source material uses this brilliant analogy. Think of manifestation like baking a cake. You've got your core ingredients, right? Your affirmations, your healthy detachment, but then you panic. You throw in this heavy, superstitious fear, like, oh no, if I miss one day of visualizing, my whole life is ruined. That is literally like throwing hot sauce into a vanilla cake batter. You're adding an ingredient that just doesn't belong, and you're gonna end up with a total cooking disaster. So let's move to section 2, practicing loving honesty, processing your true emotions. Look, we all experience heavy, dense emotions. Fear, shame, grief, doubt, insecurity. They happen. True self-concept work isn't about floating around on some cloud of forced positivity, pretending everything is perfect. Just like Sammy the Sprout accepts the rain and the storms because he knows they help him grow, you have to sit with yourself when those heavy feelings hit. Just say, hey, I feel fear right now, and you know what? That's okay. When you stop judging those emotions, they completely lose their power over you. And that brings us to a huge paradigm shift. It's called paradoxical intention. Get this. To truly let go of a desperate desire, say wanting financial freedom, you actually have to lean into it first. Stop fighting your wanting. Instead, just playfully let yourself feel the absolute juiciness of having that wealth without a single ounce of shame or guilt. Celebrating the desire is actually what releases the painful resistance that's holding it back. Moving right along to section 3, the power of indifference. Treating the 3D world as old news. Now, we usually think of indifference as, giving up. But in healthy manifestation, indifference is actually a state of profound obviousness. Try this specific meditation. Personify money as an unconditional, loving presence that is always by your side, kind of like a loyal best friend. When you view money that way, its presence feels so guaranteed that it's no longer a big deal. You don't obsess over a best friend being there. They just are. Your manifestation becomes almost boring because it's so incredibly natural to you. Because let's be real, constantly trying to fix your 3D reality is exhausting. It keeps your brain locked in problem-solving mode, which secretly implies you're in a state of lack. But imagine the profound relief that washes over you when you start treating the physical world as just old news. You mentally accept the situation as already resolved, and you simply move on with your day. So much lighter, right? Okay, section 4, the I've arrived state, the ultimate overnight shift. I want you to ask yourself this gateway question. How would I feel if I truly had everything I wanted right now? When you ask yourself that, you totally bypass your logical, analytical mind. Your brain instantly gives you this subtle, peaceful knowing of a perfectly fulfilled life. It drops you right into the feeling of having arrived. So, here is your highly actionable nighttime routine. Step 1, lay in bed and ask that gateway question. Step 2, without forcing any specific visuals, just marinate in that perfect I've arrived feeling. Your life is complete, there's literally nothing left to fix. And step 3, just drift off to sleep in total surrender. Remember, this is all about surrendering to the feeling of having, not aggressively forcing your brain to picture an outcome. Finally, section 5, I remember when. Bridging the gap of cognitive dissonance. Now, the I remember when technique is a classic method taught by Neville Goddard. If your brain is actively shouting objections about your current reality, which it loves to do, this technique acts as a bridge. It elegantly bypasses your ego's logical objections by firmly placing your current struggle in the past. Think about the psychology here. When you say, "Oh yeah, I remember when I used to struggle with that, but now I've arrived," you are instantly stripping the problem of its power. By turning your current physical problem into a distant memory, your brain just accepts the logic that the struggle is over and done with. So here is exactly how you do it. First, anchor yourself in that I've arrived state. Second, view your current struggle as a distant memory. And third, and this is absolutely crucial, add deep compassion for that old version of you who used to stress out over the problem. Just like you love a tiny sprout that hasn't fully bloomed yet, sending love to your past self beautifully seals that energy shift. And honestly, the best part? Our sources emphasize that it genuinely only takes 5 minutes. Seriously, just 5 minutes of totally, completely surrendering to this having state without running to check the 3D world for proof can trigger a massive 24-hour turnaround in your physical reality. It's all about the quality and purity of your surrender, not how long you've been struggling. So I'll leave you with this final provocative question. Who are you choosing to be right now? Are you desperately waiting for the outside world to change first? Or are you stepping into your new self-concept tonight? Stop waiting, start being. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I will see you in the next one.